Someone in an investing group this week asked a question that stopped me cold. She had $330,000 to deploy, 2 paid off rentals, Social Security covering her living expenses, and 0 debt. Her question: where does this money go next? The thread ran long. A lot of people had a lot of interesting comments. High yield savings accounts, T-bills, index funds, dividend ETFs, balance funds, mutual bonds, the rule of 100, get a financial advisor. And all of that was solid advice. All honest answers. But not one person in that thread mentioned the lender side of real estate. Become the bank. Hey, I'm Pienaar, the co-founder of Ritsel Notes, and we buy and sell mortgage notes. And today I'm going to walk you through exactly what nobody in that group thought to mention, and how your IRA could be the vehicle that puts it to work. Stay with me, because by the end of this video you're going to understand a strategy that has existed for decades and that most financial advisors will never bring up. Here's the problem with every answer that group have. They all assumed her only options were financial instruments, savings accounts, market funds, bonds, or staying a landlord. Those are the 2 lanes that most people know. Park money in the financial system or manage a property. But there's a 3rd lane, and it's the one banks have been in for centuries. Think about the last mortgage you know of. There were 2 parties at that table. The borrower, who signs the note, who owns the home, who takes the calls and handles the repairs and builds the equity over time, and the lender, who funded the loan, who holds the note and collects a monthly payment for years to come. If you've ever owned real estate, you've been the borrower. You've been at one side of that transaction. The lender side was closed to individuals for most of the last century. You needed to be a bank or a large institution. That access exists. And the IRS has allowed retirement accounts to hold mortgage notes for decades. Most financial advisors don't mention this because they can't earn a commission on it. So what exactly is a mortgage note? A mortgage note is the legal document signed by the borrower promising to redeploy a loan secured by real estate. When you buy that note, you step into the shoes of the original lender. The borrower continues making their monthly payment, now to you or to your IRA. You own the debt, not the property, and that distinction changes everything. Now let's quickly look at what is a self-directed IRA, which is basically structurally identical to the retirement account you already have, traditional or Roth, with one critical difference. You control what it invests in. A standard IRA at Fidelity or Vanguard or Schwab limit you to stocks or bonds or mutual funds. A self-directed IRA held by a specialized custodian can invest in something like a mortgage note, real estate, tax liens, private equity, and more. Now, custodians might be somebody like Equity Trust or Advanta IRA or Midland IRA. Look for clear fee structures and direct experience with note transactions. A real deal with real numbers. Let me make this concrete with numbers you can work with. Your self-directed IRA rolls over $80,000 from an old 401k. That IRA purchases a performing note in, let's say, Ohio. That loan balance is $52,000. The property value is $94,000. The borrow is current. The monthly payment is $620. So here's the number that matters most. The loan to the value of the house is the loan is $52,000 to the value of the house of $94,000 equals 55%. So what does 55% loan to value actually means? It means that this borrower, if they stop paying and you have to foreclose, you're recovering a property worth $42,000 more than the outstanding debt. That gap is your cushion. That's your protection against loss. Banks, most of it traditionally, won't lend above 80% loan to value for a reason. Note investors should be thinking the same. I personally would like to see 75% or lower on most deals. Now every $620 payment flows directly back into your Roth IRA, tax-free. The Roth wrapper means the government doesn't take a cut on the growth. No phone calls from tenants, no emergency repairs, and no vacancy months. So let's look next at what is performing versus non-performing notes. These are two types of notes, and it's worth understanding both before you decide which fits your situation. A performing note is a loan where the borrower is current, making regular monthly payments. This is the steady income stream, about as passive as the income can get. A non-performing note is a loan where the borrower has stopped paying. These are purchased at a discount and sometimes 40 to 50 cents on the dollar. But the goal is not to foreclose. The goal is to work with the borrower on a modification, to get them to re-perform again, or negotiate a short payoff, or sometimes a deed in lieu. Both can sit inside that self-directed IRA. Both have a place depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Now let me add this, the IRS rules you cannot ignore. Self-directed IRAs comes with strict rules attached to them. 3 you need to know before you open an account. The first one is no prohibited transactions. You cannot buy a note from yourself or your spouse or your parents, your children, or any business you earn 50% or more. The second is no self-dealing. Every dollar of income flows directly back into the IRA. You cannot personally benefit from any asset the account holds. Third is all expenses paid from that IRA, the servicer fee and the legal cost, they come out of that account, not your personal funds. Now, let's shift gears into due diligence. The 5 things you review on every deal, and those remains the same whether you buy personally or within your IRA. The payment history. Minimum 12 months, ideally 24. What patterns do you see? The property value. A broker price opinion or appraisal confirms your loan to value. The number has to be real, not assumed. Third is the title insurance. It's confirm that the note is in the first lien position and there are no other encumbrances sitting ahead of you. One of them, tax liens for example, that can easily sneak in and take the top place. The loan documents, the promissory note and the deed of trust or the mortgage. These define your rights if the borrower defaults. The servicer, if one is already in place, verify them. If you need to assign one, choose carefully. You can change later, but choose carefully up front. Okay, with that being said, now let's look at the setup process. Step 1 is to choose a custodian with alternative investment experience and a clear process for note transactions. The second step is to fund the account, annual contributions, roll over from an old 401k or transfer from an existing IRA. The third step is to find a note. You can use note brokers, community banks, note marketplaces, or a company like Ritsel Notes that works directly with investors. The fourth step is direct your custodian to purchase. The wire goes from your self-directed IRA. The note is held in the name of the IRA. And step 5 is to sign a servicer. They collect the payments, they manage the escrow, and they handle the borrower communication. You receive the reports, the investment returns. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, I want to understand this fully before I put any capital anywhere, that's the right instinct. And the Quiet Wealth Income Builder is exactly where that starts. QWIB short is our guided education and experience program. It takes you from the first understanding of mortgage note investing to your first actual deal inside a community of investors doing the same thing at the same time. For that, just visit us at qwib.ritselnotes.com. The link is in the description. If, however, you have the capital that's ready to work and you'd rather have somebody else handle the entire process from sourcing to due diligence to servicing, everything, that's our second pathway. Invest with Ritsel Notes. You provide the capital, we do the work, but you collect the monthly payments and you remain secured against that collateral and the property underneath the note. Reach out to us at info@ritselnotes.com. And the third option is if you want to own notes directly, full control, full yield, with our guidance on due diligence and deal selection, that's the third path. 3 different levels of involvement, and the right one depends on where are you right now. If you're part of our Ritsel Notes community and you got here from the newsletter, thank you for being in this with us. This is the full video breakdown of everything we covered on this week's blog. All resources are in the description below. If, however, you found us on YouTube or one of our social media channels, and this is your first time coming across note investing, welcome. You're in the right place. And the best next step is to look at the links in the description. And if you want to have a real conversation about whether this fits where you are right now, just book a call with us. No pitch, just a conversation. The door was always there. Most people just hadn't been shown where it is. I'm Pienaar and this is Ritsel Notes. We'll see you in the next one.